Lewis, normally when people join the company, one of the first things that we do, one of the first sort of things of business that we do is or at least I like to, have our new contributors on the show to sort of introduce them to our viewers, particularly our subscribers behind the paywall. But you hit the ground running. So I didn't really have the opportunity to sort of slow you down, stop you, and do that formal introduction. So I guess now that we've gone through the holidays and now that you have a Vax Pass in the UK, and we sort of know where you're fighting, I guess welcome to the show.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that, Sheila. Cheers.
Now, I wanted to ask you because I don't really know this, and I'm the managing editor, but where did you come from and how did you end up with us?
Well, I was originally, believe it or not, a flight attendant before this job, and I was with a company for 2 years, just handing out chicken and beef, as they do. And I was doing that for a while. Coronavirus hit and was made redundant, and I had a choice. I sort of sat there and thought, am I just going to whimper around, do a 9 to 5, or am I going to get up and do what my passion is on the side, and that's politics? And I started on YouTube, was uploading about once, maybe twice every 2 weeks, and for a year. And I saw that there was an opportunity at Rebel, and I went for it a year later, and here I am, your colleague.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sort of interested by your experience as a flight attendant when the coronavirus struck.
Mm,
What
yeah.
was your initial impression of the coronavirus? I even know, like, I look back at myself over the past 2 years, and
Mm,
initially I was sort of victim to that Chinese psyop when we saw all these leaked images of people just falling over dead in the grocery store. And my initial reaction is, China's awful. They're definitely lying to us. This is way worse than what they're telling us. Look at these leaked images. And so I thought it was a lot worse than obviously what it is. What was your experience as a flight attendant?
So, do you know what's strange? Obviously, it's very clear what my view is now
Sure. Yeah.
on the entire subject. But back then, um, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't religiously watch the news at the start. So when it hit, when we started hearing about it in November the previous year, and then we had our first lockdown in around February, March sort of time. When that happened, it was uncertain whether everyone would go back to work. We just thought that we were off for a few months or whatever, and then things would
2 weeks
slowly
to flatten
back.
the curve.
2 weeks to
2
flatten the
weeks.
curve. That's it. Yeah, we thought it was just that, and everything will be back to normal after we've slowed the spread. But no, I think all of our sort of lives have flipped upside down since, and some of them a blessing in disguise, like myself. So I'm kind of I'm not grateful that it's happened. That's not what I'm trying to say, but when you're in a bad situation, you have to flip it into something positive. That's how you keep going in life. But originally, when the lockdown was first implemented, I was actually weirdly for it because it was something new, brand new. We didn't know what was happening, and wow, I was wrong. And I'm so comfortable in saying that I was wrong for that. So yeah, I was pretty pro at the start because I didn't know anything else.
You know, I'm really happy to hear that because there are a lot of people right now. I think that's one of the problems with society. People are so deeply invested in their first and initial assessment of this that they refuse to reassess and say, you know what, I was wrong. We got it wrong. Clearly, after 22 or 23 months of 2 weeks to flatten the curve,
Yeah.
that we overreacted. We did things wrong. There's not a lot of that, particularly in the people who are making the decisions to continually lock down. There's not a lot of that happening, at least not in Canada. What's your assessment of the UK?
Yeah. So yeah, you're completely right about the societal issue. People are so afraid to be wrong that yeah, people bottle it up, don't they? And being wrong is like blasphemy almost in
Yeah.
society terms. So, but I think it's important to address when you're wrong because that means that you're never going to be wrong because you'll always be right if you correct yourself. That's how I see it. Um, my assessment of the UK is it's pretty sluggish at the minute with all these rules. I think things are going to get worse still. But I think things can get better. The only way for things to get better is for people to just admit that originally you could have been wrong. Put that pride aside and start focusing on what's going to happen in the future. I mean, we've got now vaccine passports. We've got potential restrictions that could happen. I still believe that we're going to go into another lockdown soon. I think they're just delaying it, and yeah, people are worried. People are scared about what's happening, and I want to thank my local conspiracy theorists for being right. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a scary and weird time, but yeah, you got to put your pride aside and focus and keep on topic. Because that's my biggest criticism, I would say, to the movement at the minute is we'll start talking about vaccine passports and the Great Reset, which is fine, not a problem. I think it's a very important subject, but then the movement starts to stray into the areas of things like 5G and chemtrails. And if that was my biggest thing, I'd say just drop that and focus on the topic at hand. That would be my little criticism.
If you'd like to get access to my show as well as other great TV style shows too, like Ezra's Nightly Ezra Levant Show and David Menzies' Friday night show, Rebel Roundup, just go to rebelnews.com/subscribe. That's rebelnews.com/subscribe.